Well, one of the pieces of news that we saw yesterday in this market was the fact that we had Turkey and among these other countries that were selling treasuries over the past month, according to reports. And it jived with the exercise that we had discussed here on the show, I think with Thomas, with Ilya, maybe it was also with you in recent weeks. Like if you're a country and you're an energy importer and you now see that oil has gone from 70 to 90 and you have to pay this additional cost to keep your country running, three options: fiscal response, stimulus. That may mean issuing more debt. That may mean raising taxes to pay for things, right? You could do the QE route. You could lower rates, but that may help spur even more inflation because, in effect, you're leaving your currency at a yield disadvantage at a time when the cost of importing goods is more expensive. You're actually accelerating the deterioration in your own terms of trade. And so then the only third option you have that's politically palatable in the short run is to just sell the safe haven assets that you buy in case of a rainy day. And that means you sell gold, that you're selling treasuries. And we got the news story out of the Financial Times yesterday that indeed is what a bunch of Asian and Middle Eastern countries have been doing. They have been selling treasuries. They have been unloading gold because they have higher energy bills to pay for. So oil at 175 says notes are trading down at 105. ZB's below 105. I mean, it would be a nightmare for bulls in the bond market, at least in the short run. It would also be really bad news for gold bulls, given what we've seen over the last month, if those relationships still hold.
Yeah, I mean, the idea of selling the hell out of treasuries is definitely the move. I also say the idea of even buying a straddle. That's actually what I was thinking about when I look at it. I mean, this is still one of the lower vol instruments that we have on the entire board. I mean, 6% implied volatility. And if things really were going to get bad, like you said, at 105, that's a huge move. I mean, right now, that's not what this thing is pricing in. And so it's definitely something that is on the table. I mean, when you think about it, even from a standpoint of premium, it's not a whole crazy amount of premium. If you think things are really going to hell in a handbasket, yeah, that's one of them. That'd be a heck of a trade, by the way. Wow. Especially in the 9-day. But,
Jermal, 50 IVR. I think that's the main thing here, right? If we wanted to, considering the relationship that vol has had with prices, vol's been expanding on the way down. It's been contracting on the way up. And so if I wanted to say this is going to break through 111, or how do I express my short? Would I be short a put or short a call here? Okay, you could go directionally neutral, and I don't want to dismiss that. We wanted to do something classic, 108.5, 108, 113.5, 114. You can size up inside of a 4-to-1 at a 64% probability of profit. No big deal. But short call wise, Jermal, if we were to think about the recent bounce and that pivot level we had here on the 18th, okay, that pivot level substantiates that 2150-day envelope as being a bit of resistance, as we're seeing here for a third time today. The 50-day moving average is just south of 112. So looking at 112 then, like a 112, 112.5 short call spread, that's intriguing. It's inside of a 3-to-1, right around a 60% probability of profit. And in the event that you and I are right, that we're going to be looking at stuff, stuff that rhymes with mound loops tonight in President Trump's speech, that's ground troops. Then perhaps oil prices get another spike and we get another sell-off in treasuries as these countries, whatever narrative we want to insert here. But I feel like short calls is better than short puts right now if I want to try to capture some of that volatility in this market.
Yeah, I like that. And for the sake of today's show, I do want to just discuss mayhem situation because I feel like, for the most part, we never talk about these things, but people are always interested. And these are the type of opportunities, if you're going to take the swing, you go for the swing. I mean, look, I'm looking at, if you just look at buying the straddle, it's $1,000 for 9 days in the April cycle in ZN. I mean, that's the type of trade where if you really think things are about to go nuts, that's the one you do, right? Buying VIX calls in the April contract right now, I mean, they're anywhere from $200 to $300. Those are the plays you want to make. I mean, again, if you're looking at real actual mayhem happening, I mean, those are the type of plays you make for it. Just be prepared what happens in real life on the other side of the trade.
Do we do the reverse iron fly again?
So yeah, I was looking at that too.
It didn't work out last time.
And you could sell the downside too if you want it. Well, if you believe in the downside, then yeah, whatever. But you do have it. Yeah, that's exactly what I looked at as well. I looked at that trade also. I mean, I'm looking, dude. I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about buying the straddle. It's gonna hold up, right? For the next until Monday. You're just holding it till Monday, right? I mean, you don't even have to hold it for the whole week. What is it trading right now on the 2-day? Like, what is this actual? So that's 62.
All right, Jermal, you've convinced me.
You'd lose half your probably money. Right now, it's trading for 33 ticks. I'm about to buy a straddle.
What's the worst that happens?
I know, right?
We lose our jobs.
You lose half.
What's the worst?
You lose $500.
Oh yeah, $500. Sorry,
let's just call it that.
Sorry, getting a little ahead of myself here. Okay, yeah, the price action today. I think that's the most important consideration. Former support, turn resistance, run into your 1 month pause. We've done this before. We just needed another week last time in terms of timing, right? The idea that we were going to see a move in notes, it was going to go somewhere. We had negative IVRs. So this isn't the exact perfect setup to do the reverse iron fly. Typically, you're looking for the volatility expansion and already at a 50 IVR. I mean, like, how much vol expansion are we going to get? But this is really about the next few days. With the speech tonight, with non-farm payrolls, let's see where we are on Monday. If we get the winds of profit behind us, Jermal, may we be so lucky. Metals pushing higher.
I mean, one last thing. I agree with you. I think this is. I like what you said about the next few days. That's really what this is about. I mean, again, I bought VIX calls for the next few days. I bought them for 13 days. The straddle I just bought in ZN. I mean, that's for 9 days. The super bear and SPX. I mean, that's for April 10th. So these are all very short term, given this catalyst situation. And I like your idea of pushing other things further out, widening out the iron Condor and ES and moving it out a little bit further, because I think that's just how you got to think right now. You got to push your real good risk asset things that you expect vol to come in and markets to go higher. I think you got to push those out a little further now.
Yeah, for sure, especially around a holiday, the extra weekend. Metals pushing higher again. Gold. This is rare has been the occasion when gold has been the top performing thing in my portfolio. Today is one of those days, which I think is good news, I guess, because it was a real bastard last month. So we find ourselves at 47.97 here right now. The 1 month moving average is 47.87. The 50 day is 48.44 or so. It feels like there's a turn. It feels like something's happening, Jermal. Why shouldn't I get excited about this yet? Tell me. Curb my enthusiasm.
Well, it depends on, well, I mean, it doesn't depend. I know you, but I'll say it anyway. It depends. It depends on, what do you mean by excited? Are you expecting it to return back to, 5,400 or are you expecting it to sort of break 5,000 and eventually maybe start to fix itself, if you will, make this chart look a little bit better? I guess that's really what it boils down to. I mean, I'm long it too. I think I told you I have a GLD call spread, but I also decided to sell vol in it today too, and I sold it in the case of GLD up against 480 and 405, right? And I think that is one of the things that might start to happen. I think this vol actually might start to come in a little bit as it does stabilize, which it is. I think the worst is behind. I guess I shouldn't say that.
That was my but that was my next question, because that in and of itself, if the worst is behind, you can make a really significant argument that we're halfway between where we were right before the war and from the low that we had, what was it, 2 weeks ago now? I mean, if you wanted to get directionally neutral in gold to take advantage of the 67 IVR, there are things to do north of 5,500 and south of 4,200.
Right.
Perhaps.
And I think that's the thing to do. But I said I had to back up, of course, because, again, we're over here putting mayhem trades on. The worst wouldn't be behind. I suppose this would be one that'll get sold off pretty hard too, right? oddly enough. And again, I'd love to be pleasantly surprised in gold and bonds, but what we've seen is that when the risk off moments came, those are both sold off pretty hard. Like you said, possibly other countries selling off those assets to be able to pay for other things. So, but there is the vol, and there is this wide range that has been carved out now. And I think that's probably one of your better opportunities right now in gold.
Looking at that wide range, if people are thinking about, okay, I want to take advantage of the 67 IVR, the low that we have from the 23rd is 41.28. The high from the second is 54.74. Operating in this, close to that territory. Okay. Thinking about the highs and lows and looking for a decent risk to reward. 41.75, 42.25 on a short put spread. You go to the call spread side, 54.25, 54.75. So playing the range here, right? We're now a month into this thing. It's week 5. What have we learned since the start of March? Well, this is the trading range that we have, and we're now sitting right in between it. It's not the directional, bell ringer that we typically go after in gold, not those, far out of the money calls, reaching for them, hoping that they provide a ton of convexivity here. Mm-hmm. But the whole purpose of this market, Jermal, at least the way that we've been trying to approach it more successfully in recent weeks than the start of the war, is capital preservation, right? The goal here isn't necessarily to make money, although making money is great. It's during these highly volatile times, it's to keep the ship stable so that we are there and able to take advantage of it. With the vol spikes, we're able to deploy the capital. If we're wrong, we could take off losses and move on and look for the next opportunity. So certainly doing something like a short iron Condor wide enough outside of the highs and lows of the crisis, that's a little bit more stable than taking the directional bet here and saying, no, it's going to go up another $200-300, or it's coming back in another 200 or 300. But one last point, though, you mentioned this. What if Treasuries go crazy tonight, tomorrow, Thursday, right? We go into non-farm payrolls and the market's freaking out about what happens. Probably not good for gold. So if I'm a Treasury bull right now, I would take a long, hard look at whether or not I want to be a gold bull too. Applying these trades, Jermal, it's not just looking to make the money, as you say, but it's also about balancing the risk in our portfolio. You use the phrase frequently, what can we do to bring down our beta-weighted deltas ahead of significant event risk? Given the changing relationships we've seen, depending upon what you're doing in bonds, you very well may be doing something similar already in gold. So I think we should just be mindful of how we're adding things in, our timeline assumptions, our strategy assumptions for some of these correlated products.
Absolutely agree. It's a smart thing to do right now.